All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we're going on a really heartwarming journey, transforming humble, inexpensive beef scraps into absolute culinary magic. Welcome everyone. We're looking at a brilliant approach to home cooking that's all about patience, mindfulness, and just incredible flavor. We're going to break down exactly how you can take what a lot of folks consider throwaway cuts of meat and, with a little structure and care, elevate them into something truly extraordinary.
I want to start with this brilliant perspective from our chef, because it really sets the perfect joyful tone. Forget about cholesterol for today, eat, enjoy, and we'll talk later. I mean, how great is that? I absolutely love this mindset. It completely reframes our cooking. It's not some restrictive chore, it's a total act of indulgence. When you're pouring your heart into a slow-cooked, rich, comforting meal, you absolutely deserve to sit back, relax, and savor every single melt-in-your-mouth bite.
And the foundation of this rich meal starts right here with a wonderfully accessible price tag of just 140 baht. This represents our humble beginning, inexpensive beef scraps. Now, I know these scraps often come with fascia and bits of fat, and honestly, to a lot of people, that might look a little intimidating. But you know the secret, right? When these specific cuts are treated with the right techniques, they yield so much more depth and flavor than those super expensive, lean premium cuts. It's literally all about how you handle them.
So let's get right into Section 1, the ritual of care, specifically washing for completely odorless beef.
You know, the biggest fear with these budget cuts is usually that strong, gamey smell. But we're going to tackle that head-on, through a really methodical washing process. Step 1 is pretty standard, rinsing with plain water a few times. But Step 2, this is the absolute game changer. You massage and knead the beef thoroughly with ground salt. It's almost like a spa treatment for the meat. The salt acts as an abrasive, drawing out all those impurities and totally neutralizing the strong odors, right before you give it that final clean rinse.
Moving right along to Section 2, boiling for perfect tenderness, where we uncover the secret to meltingly soft beef.
Okay, the crucial point here is a completely counterintuitive boiling secret. You actually have to put the meat right into a pot of cold water with a spoon of salt before the water even boils. And the most important rule of the whole process, do not stir until the foam rises. Seriously, hands off. I know it requires a bit of restraint, but this exact technique is what ensures your broth stays crystal clear and pristine.
Once that foam finally rises to the top, you want to meticulously skim every single bit of it off. Only then do you introduce your aromatics, galangal, lemongrass, and kaffir lime leaves. These aren't just basic flavors. They're fragrant layers that gently perfume the beef. Then you lower your stove to the absolute lowest heat, cover your pot, and just let time do all the heavy lifting.
Patience is absolutely key here. Allowing the pot to simmer for exactly 1 hour and 20 minutes rewards you with absolute perfection. From the cold water to the boil, right down to the final minute, you can actually step away, go watch a movie, read a book, just relax. That's the sheer beauty of slow cooking. By the end of this timeline, you're left with perfectly tender beef, ready to be chopped up, and a deeply infused, fragrant broth that is basically liquid gold.
And that brings us to Section 3, one effort, two delicious meals. Here comes the plot twist.
So, you've invested the time, and now you get a double reward. By simply dividing our tender, chopped beef in that incredibly flavorful broth, one single foundation gives us two completely distinct meals. On one side, we can build a rich, creamy, coconut-based green curry, and on the other, the remaining broth and meat effortlessly transform into a spicy, tangy, warming tom sap soup. Talk about a loving way to bring amazing variety to the dinner table without having to start from scratch.
Let's dive into Section 4, crafting the green curry, where we're bringing the heat and the flavor.
To get that deeply flavorful and slightly spicy kick, it all comes down to an exact ratio. We use 4 parts green curry paste, but here is the chef's secret weapon, mixing in 2 parts southern red curry paste, along with just a tiny dash of shrimp paste. This highly specific blend creates a depth, a complexity, and a gentle heat that a single store-bought paste literally cannot achieve on its own. No way! Just imagine the rich sensory experience in your kitchen as you let the coconut milk and curry paste meld together before tossing in that tender, pre-boiled beef. You stir the paste directly into the coconut milk in a pan and let it simmer for just 1 to 2 minutes. What you're closely watching for here is that beautiful moment when the mixture becomes incredibly fragrant and the oil naturally separates to the surface. It's your visual and aromatic cue that your flavor base has perfectly bloomed. Now, a quick reassuring tip. Always,
Always remember to taste your curry base first before you start balancing the savory and sweet notes. Curry pastes from different vendors can vary wildly in how salty they are. So taste first. Then you can layer your flavors. A little fish sauce for that deep umami, some seasoning powder, and palm sugar to bring a beautiful rounded sweetness. Once it's perfectly balanced to your liking, in goes your gorgeously tender pre-boiled beef and broth.
All right, this next part is a vital technique to memorize: high heat blanching. Keeping the heat aggressively high ensures your Thai and pea eggplants stay beautifully vibrant. When you're ready to drop your eggplants into the curry, the liquid must be at a rolling, aggressive boil. If you drop them into a tepid or barely simmering liquid, the skins oxidize rapidly and turn this unappetizing black color. High heat locks in that gorgeous natural green and perfectly softens them up.
Finally, we toss in these rapid-fire aromatic additions, making sure the sweet basil is quickly exposed to the heat so it doesn't discolor. We're adding torn kaffir lime leaves, sliced fresh chili for an extra visual and spicy pop, and of course, sweet basil. You stir the basil in very quickly, right at the very end. Just want enough heat to release those essential oils, and then you turn off the stove almost immediately to preserve all that bright freshness. We really hope this explainer inspires you to get into the kitchen and embrace these mindful cooking steps. You've literally turned humble beef scraps into two heartwarming masterpieces. So the only question left is, who are you going to cook this for? Taking something inexpensive and turning it into a total feast through sheer care, patience, and structure is a true joy. Thanks for joining us on this culinary journey today. Grab your apron and let's get cooking.